Daniel, the Pirates are off and running in Northwest Conference play, and it's been a little bit of a mixed bag, but there's also signs of steps forward for this team from last year. This past weekend, a split at home, a pretty easy win over Linfield, and then you guys played George Fox closer than you have in recent years. So take us back through the weekend and what you take out of it that give you hope for the improvement of this team.
Sure. So yeah, Linfield was definitely a good match for us. Everybody came out, really good energy, really good effort right off the bat. We've kind of started slow in matches so far this year, but came out firing in that one, which was awesome to see. And yeah, 6-1, it looks like an easy win. Like there were still competitive matches. It was good that we were able to win. That lopsided of a score, I guess, but it was still good that we competed and took care of business. And then, yeah, the George Fox match, I mean, had a great comeback to win the doubles point from our number 2 doubles, which was awesome to see. And then, I mean, at one point, I was standing watching the matches inside, and one of the guys on the team just kind of leaned over and said, like, this actually feels like we could sweep them, which would be absurd. Last year they beat us 7-0 in like 20 minutes. Like, I mean, so they've definitely, they graduated a lot of their top players, some of them left, but they're still very strong. They're one of the best teams in conference. So it was very encouraging to, he was almost surprised that we were like that competitive with them. So hopefully going forwards, guys really latch on to that, like that, we can compete with the best teams in the conference. And I mean, honestly, we legitimately could have won that match as a team, which is fantastic. We had several matches with tiebreaker sets, lost every single one of them, which is obviously a bummer. But, a couple of those go our way, and we could be looking at a 4-3, even a 5-2 win, which is really good going forward. So, it gives us a lot of confidence moving into the rest of our conference play.
If belief is kind of that next step for this team, that they actually can play with and beat the teams that have been above them in the standings for a little while, as a coach, how do you instill that belief in the guys to make that step?
I mean, it kind of depends on the person probably for a lot of them. Different guys will respond to different, ways of phrasing it essentially. But I mean, right after the match was over, we immediately started talking about that, about how just like, I think if everyone was being honest with themselves going into that match, they probably didn't think we were going to win. But just, being competitive, being willing to fight and scrap for every point, like, crazy things can happen, and I think that we're just going to continue getting better. There was still a lot of stuff to clean up in the matches, which is good, because this is certainly not, the absolute best tennis we could have played, and we still lost. Like, there's still ways to improve for everybody. So I think that that's going to be the messaging going forwards. Like, even when we're not at our best, we can still compete with the best teams in conference. So if we just clean it up a little bit, just that much more focus, that much more kind of intention behind what we're doing, we could legitimately, surprise some people.
This week you've got an interesting week just in terms of geography.
Yeah.
Typically you go to Oregon or you go to the west side, but you're doing both.
Yeah.
This weekend. Going to play Lewis and Clark in Portland and then make the trip up to Tacoma to take on Puget Sound. First, how do you manage the miles? And then second, what do the matchups with these teams look like?
Yeah, it's, losing PLU as a program kind of makes the geography weird for sure. Yeah, it's just, it shouldn't be too different. It'll basically just be a little bit longer of a drive after our first match. We have about a 2-hour drive to Tacoma after the Portland match. So we kind of do just like a triangle as we're driving around. Should be fine though. The van rides are always fun, so I think the guys would be good with that. As far as the matches themselves, Lewis and Clark, they're currently in third. They finished third last year, so they're a little bit better than us on paper. But going back to the Fox match, like as long as the guys can believe that, look, we competed with people who, I'm pretty sure Fox already beat Lewis and Clark this year. if we just picked up our team from the George Fox match and dropped us into Lewis and Clark, like I'm very confident that we would win. So just trying to have that belief going into that match. And then UPS is one of the weaker teams in conference on paper, but it's going to be extremely loud in their building. They have a lot of energy. They could be losing every single point in a match and you would not know it. They always are very motivated to, keep themselves going in matches. So that'll be the difference for that one, is just making sure that we stay focused. We play our game, should walk away with a win, but it'll take more focus than usual, just given kind of the just energy level and kind of the dynamic of playing against UPS.